Ugh, I hate stairs.
Oh my god, you hate stuff too?
Sure. Never really thought about it, but yeah, I hate things. I hate those stairs.
I know!
I hate that bridge.
It's so stupid!
I hate your vest.
What now? I don't think this is gonna work out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And welcome back to another night with Friday Nights. If you've been following my channel, you'd know I'm no stranger to the Left 4 Dead franchise, and you'd be right. I've been a fan of the game series ever since 2011. God, I realized how long ago that was. Oh, I feel old. Anyways, it was actually my introduction into zombies, which has become a favorite genre of mine since then. And when I saw that people were making videos on gaming icebergs, I thought it would be super fun to make one myself. But the only problem was, there are no really good Left 4 Dead icebergs in my opinion. Most of them seem to be full of memes or just insane conspiracy theories. So, I decided to pull inspiration from some of them and create the ultimate Left 4 Dead iceberg. The iceberg I made covers various parts of Left 4 Dead, the in-game lore, and the community that the game has built around itself. Something to note, the iceberg is built in mind for people with a surface level knowledge of Left 4 Dead, so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you might want to play the game a bit more, so you don't get Left 4 Dead.
Get that crap out of here.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you, give me $200.
Another thing is that the placements of the different topics on the iceberg are purely where I think they belong. If you feel like something is in the wrong place, that's totally valid, but I put the different subjects where I felt they most fit in. And with that, let's start the night off. Back 4 Blood is a zombie survival first-person shooter being developed by Turtle Rock Studios, the original creators of Left 4 Dead, before Valve took over. It definitely looks and feels similar to Left 4 Dead, however it is an entirely independent franchise, just very much inspired by Turtle Rock's earlier works. This is true in a weird sort of way. The survivors we play as in both games are what are called carriers, meaning in a sense they are immune. However, they still carry the virus, and are able to infect other people if they are in contact with them for long enough times. This is shown in the official Left 4 Dead Sacrifice comic. The military in universe has been experimenting on carriers to find a possible cure. However, as far as we've seen, no discoveries have been made. In Chapter 1 of the campaign Swamp Fever, you're able to find a strung up charger near the docks where you call the tugboat. It's actually hanging in the shape of a Lambda. This is an obvious nod to Half-Life, another Valve property where the Lambda is a commonly used symbol in-game. Unlike every other survivor who has an actual name, Coach is just called, well, Coach. Even his model file is named Coach. Whereas the other survivors are named after their professions or lifestyles they had before the outbreak, such as Bill being Nomvet, Ellis being Mechanic, and funnily enough, Zoe is called Teen Angst. Coach has never had his name revealed. However, a popular fan theory is that his name is Darnell Coleman, a combination of the two actors who portray him, Chad Coleman of Walking Dead fame, who did his voice, and Darnell Rice, who was his face model. Yeah, so for some reason in the No Mercy loading poster, Zoe has 3 hands. It's unknown as to why, but it's most likely just an artistic error. So, throughout the campaigns in Left 4 Dead, you are able to find common infected that have certain quirks that separate them from regular infected. This might be things like the construction worker not being attracted to pipe bombs, to more major things like the riot zombies being immune to bullets, and the mudmen who crawl on all fours and attempt to blind players with mud. However, there is a much more uncommon infected. The Jimmy Gibbs zombie only has a 5% chance of spawning on dead center. He's an incredibly powerful enemy, with 1000 health, the ability to blind players with oil, not be attracted to pipe bombs or bio bombs, and if he wasn't tanky enough, he can't be lit on fire. However, he isn't immune to headshots. Jimmy Gibbs Jr. is a famous race car driver in the Left 4 Dead universe, and his car is what the Left 4 Dead 2 survivors use in order to escape from dead center. Cheeseburger Apocalypse refers to a lion's hit by Coach.
I found a burger tank in this place. I'm gonna be a one-man cheeseburger apocalypse.
The Screamer was a cut special infected from Left 4 Dead, and would have been very similar to the Boomer in functionality. It would act like the witch, just kinda hanging out until it was startled, resulting in it screaming and alerting the horde. However, it was cut due to it just being too hard to fight. After summoning the horde, the Screamer would just haul ass, making it incredibly hard to actually kill it, since you have to deal with the friends it called first. It was a super cool idea, but other games have made very similar, if not exactly the same zombies, so maybe it was a good idea to not include the Screamer and replace it with the much more unique Boomer, as nowadays it could be seen as cliché. This is another meme that was and still is pretty popular in the Left 4 Dead community. How this started is that while the other survivors when picking up pills will reference that they are grabbing pills, none are as ecstatic as Lewis sounds when he grabs pills. It was such a popular meme, Valve even referenced it in Left 4 Dead 2 when they re-released the first game's maps. While it isn't known what was the first special infected, the Boomer is the first special infected that both groups of survivors see. The first group finds a Boomer's dead body in the intro movie, and the second group finds a chart made by Sita. It talks about the research they've done on the Boomer. It's found in the first level of Dead Center. The idea that the Boomer was the first special infected probably came from the fact that it's the only special infected we know that Sita has researched thoroughly, which means it might be the earliest mutation, since they have the most documentation of it. So with both groups of survivors, we really only know their first name, except for Bill. Bill's full name was revealed to be William Bill Overbeck. This makes him the only survivor with a confirmed last name. Jukeboxes are able to be found in some campaigns, and are actually able to be interacted with. The songs that are able to be played are
We're not unreasonable. I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes. All we wanna do is eat your brains. We're at an impasse here.
success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Aperture science. We do what we must because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive.
If you didn't already guess, the Still Alive song is a reference to the Portal franchise, another series of games by Valve. Still Alive is used as the ending credits song for the first game, and is sung by the main antagonist GLaDOS. The song The Saints Will Never Come is a parody of the song The Saints Come Marching In, which is a traditional funeral march in New Orleans. Another unique song that can be played is Your Brains, a song by Jonathan Coulton, which tells the tale of an office worker pursued by his zombie co-workers. Ironic given the context of the game it appears in. A fun little detail is during the chorus it will actually attract a horde. One last Easter egg is the achievement Killing Him Swiftly to this song. You get this by playing a song on the Jukebox. The achievement's name is a reference to the 1973 song Killing Me Softly with his song, that was made by Roberta Flack. I know this sounds like some sort of edgy headcanon, but it's actually true. In the comics, during a not-so-peaceful dinner, Zoe's mother and father are attacked by a wandering zombie. Zoe's dad manages to kill it, however not before it infects his wife, who then mauls him before she is also shot by him, coming to the conclusion that he has been infected by the zombie plague. He instructs Zoe to kill him, not wanting to become a zombie himself. Zoe does so and solidifies her new role as an orphan. Later on in the comics, the tragic irony is realized. So how the carrier gene works is that the gene is passed down through the father, which means most likely Zoe's dad wouldn't have turned, and the mercy kill was in vain. If you're fast enough on the passing campaign, you'll be able to see the Midnight Riders tour bus race past a fence, leaving several of the survivors questioning if what they saw was real. This has led many people to speculate that the Midnight Riders are alive. This is a fun topic. So Valve, the company behind Left 4 Dead, might have inserted themselves and their games into the universe of Left 4 Dead. This is found mostly through Easter eggs that have never been stated as canon or not, but it's still fun to speculate. These Easter eggs include the previously mentioned Still Alive song from Portal, a Team Fortress cereal box which mysteriously hints at a 10th class, and some lines spoken by the survivors, such as,
"Man, I feel like I'm Gordon Freeman." "Oh man, this is just like Counter-Strike."
Dude, this is just like Team Fortress 2.
Hey, watch out for that goddamn steam pipe.
Man, I love steam.
Yeah, steam's alright, I guess.
The green flu is what's responsible for the zombie outbreak in the first place. It mutates fairly regularly, almost what seems to be daily, and with the existence of special infected, it could mean that there's multiple strains of said virus, or that it's still developing. Essentially, the green flu is rabies on steroids. It makes anyone who is infected with it incredibly violent, along with causing some infected by it to mutate into special infected. It's unknown exactly how people are infected by it. While the zombies don't seem to bite the survivors, biting has been shown as a way that the zombies can infect non-immune survivors.
my woman got bit.
It could be that, since the survivors are immune, that's why the zombies don't bite them. Maybe they can sense it, but it's kinda all up in the air. It could also infect people through boomer bile, and through the smoker's smoke. The exact place where the outbreak started is unknown. It is known that it started in the eastern United States and quickly spread south as well. CETA is the in-universe stand-in for the real-life CDC in America. They were the first ones to start trying to contain, study, and find a cure for the green flu. And as we can see, they're doing a top-notch job at that. CETA is the explanation behind the safe rooms that are used to start and end each campaign. CETA sent out information on how to construct safe rooms and barricades in order for more people to stay safe when traveling to evac points. CETA didn't reveal the full length of what the virus could do, labeling it the green flu as a way to make people feel less scared about it. Fun fact, Rochelle was actually sent out on an assignment from her news station to begin producing reports on the reality of the pandemic, which was all going well until Savannah fell, leaving her stranded with 3 other survivors. It's unknown whether or not the rest of the world knows what's happening in the eastern/southern area of America. But with how crappily CETA has been handling the situation, there's most likely been information about the zombies leaked onto the internet. Eventually, due to CETA's failure to contain the infection, the United States military overtook their duties, with CETA working under them. The military declared martial law and use of deadly force, often gunning down civilians that they presumed to be infected. A very common theory about the origins of Special Infected is that Special Infected are dictated by the type of lifestyle the person had before being infected. Such as if someone used a lot of steroids, they could mutate into a tank, or if someone was an incredibly chronic smoker, they'd become a, well, smoker. A couple other examples could be like how the Boomer was probably someone with an extensive anime body pillow collection, and the Jockey was definitely a Discord admin up until they caught the green flu. The Hunter was originally going to be super unfun to fight against. As far as I could find, the Hunter had 2 original abilities that went unused. The first one is that he would be able to hang off of ceilings like a bat, most likely to ambush survivors when they walked under him, and the more out there skill of becoming invisible when standing still, which would make the Hunter just infuriating to fight against in versus. Like, imagine getting all the way to the safe room, and then a cloaked Hunter murks you just as you open the door. I'm definitely glad this wasn't included. When you first start up Left 4 Dead, the main menu's background is often animated depicting different parts of Left 4 Dead campaigns. One of them shows the entrance to the Whispering Oak Fairgrounds. If you stay on the screen for long enough, eventually a zombie unlike any other will peek its head out. The hidden zombie has glowing eyes, and not many other identifying features besides this, as it's incredibly dark and hard to see. Some people have claimed that this is possibly an infected that's supposed to appear in the 3rd game, whenever that comes out. For a long time, people thought that a zombie dog was a cut enemy from the first game. This was due to sound files in the game that, when played, sounded like a dog. However, these were actually just the original noises for the Hunter, which was later replaced with the snarls we know today. But there was actually a zombie pig called the Hellhog, which would have most likely appeared in the Blood Harvest campaign. However, it never moved past the concept phase. Alright, so imagine if The Witch was made by Trevor Henderson. That's class. This ugly Eraserhead baby clone was a cut special infected that was going to be in Left 4 Dead 2. It never made it past the design phase, so we don't know what it would be like in game. There is a set of abilities for it on the Left 4 Dead roleplay wiki, however, I can't find any sources confirming this as what its attacks would have been like. Okay, before all you FNAF fans start commenting "man behind the slaughter," this is actually not a reference to Five Nights at Freddy's. It's actually possibly one of the best shitposts of any Valve game. Back in February of 2021, someone ran wild on the Left 4 Dead wiki, editing the Francis page to instead refer to someone called Purple Francis. The creator went through insane detail in order to talk about Purple Francis, making the character out to be something that has always been part of the wiki. Luckily, before it was fixed, people managed to get screenshots of his addition to the wiki. Before we continue on, I'm really quickly just going to go over the Purple Francis wiki, just so you guys can experience what it was like. Purple Francis is a playable character in Left 4 Dead. He looks mostly like the character Francis, yet he has a purple hue to him. He owned a root beer factory before the apocalypse and had 3 children and a wife. Purple Francis doesn't really show much character outside of small conversations with reactions to other survivors dying. He's referenced in the Passing campaign by the Left 4 Dead survivors, hinted at being dead, which is then proven to be true in the Sacrifice comic. Francis refrains from speaking about the loss of Purple Francis, hesitating from continuing any conversation regarding him. Nick seems to have been struck hard by the news, which implies that they had some sort of past relationship. In the last chapter of The Passing, you can find Purple Francis roaming the top floor of the buildings by the port. The survivors don't seem to notice it, therefore there are no lines regarding the Purple Francis sighting. Purple Francis was born in a candle factory to parents Francis Sr. and Meriwether in Medville, Ohio. At an early age, he was exposed to an iron-rich diet, causing his skin, hair, and eyes to turn a harsh purple tint. This quality attracted many women, causing him to be the father of 3 by age 11. At age 15, he was coerced into taking a hallucinogenic drug, which would affect him for the rest of his life. During his first trip, he reportedly had a 4-hour conversation with God, who told him he would be the best Purple Francis ever conceived. After dropping out of middle school, he founded a root beer factory with his wife and his son, Congulus. He maintained this job until the outbreak. His second son, Skibbity, became a member of the United Nations and went on to embezzle several $1 million from the Cuban government. His daughter, Johnson, is currently in a romantic relationship with former US President Ronald Reagan. Purple Francis most likely has the least lines in the game, so his relationships with other survivors are very unclear. He mostly speaks to others in regards to plans, happenings in the world, and reactions to when other survivors die. Purple Francis, unlike the actual Francis, has a very different personality compared to his counterpart. He treats Lewis much better than Francis, being more open-ended to his ideas and approving of his methods. Purple Francis is on neutral terms with Bill and Zoe, seeing them as friends yet being less inclined to know them more, citing that they seem as normal can get. However, with Francis, he thinks Francis was born on the wrong path, is that of a delinquent, yet still attempts to get him to be more kind, albeit without much luck. At first, Purple Francis was not shown off during the E3 trailer, and was not shown on any promotional art at the time. However, Valve soon released an article announcing the addition of Purple Francis. This was met with negative reviews, with critics at the time citing that Valve had gone and done it again. However, when he was revealed in video media, the negatives soon turned to positive. After the first hearing of his voice, it was reported that approximately 10 people fainted at the hearing of his voice. In the Sacrifice comic, Purple Francis is seen getting lassoed by a smoker, then getting charged by a charger, then punched by a tank, and then dragged in front of a moving train by a jockey, killing him. His death was seen as a national tragedy, and it is known to have been Valve's worst move. The writers for the comic were soon fired and exiled to a remote island in Guam. The Ratman was a cut special infected from the first game. It most likely would have spawned in the underground segments of different campaigns, like the subway, sewer, and drain pipe. The Ratman never went past the concept art phase, so we don't know what his attacks would have actually been like. I've seen some cool ideas online, like after sending out the rats, they would climb all over the target, dealing damage and needing a teammate to shoot or shove them off. Just like in most other zombie media, zombie children aren't shown in Left 4 Dead. The reason most likely why is that it would drum up a lot of controversy that Valve doesn't want to deal with. I have seen some people say that the jockey is a child zombie, but there's nothing to confirm this, and the jockey looks nothing like a kid. I'm guessing it's because the jockey is so small and annoying like kids? Oh god, that's a name I haven't seen in a long time. If you've been into the more fanfictionally side of the community, then you already know what this is. Nellis is the ship between Nick and Ellis. It's never hinted at that they show any form of romantic interest in each other in-game or in other media. In fact, Nick kinda hates Ellis's guts.
Hey Ellis, why don't you tell us about the time you shut up? Ellis, if I listen to this, will this be the last one? You know what I like best about your stories, Ellis? The sound they make when they stop. You know what I like best about your stories, Ellis? Nothing. Why don't we just try quiet time for a while? Hey Ellis, shut up contest. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!
Or at least shows disdain for him, and eventually just grows to tolerate him. While Ellis likes Nick from the start, though he does tease him when he gets the chance. I'm guessing this whole frenemies kind of thing between them caused fans to just jump on this pairing. When I say Nellis was popular, I mean it was popular. There were thousands of different AMVs, comics, animations, and it's still an incredibly popular ship to this day. Jumping off the topic of Nellis, there was actually a canonical couple that was going to star in the first game. Bizarrely, it was going to be Francis and Zoe. This was dropped during development, and the general consensus as to why is because it was considered too distracting. The pairing is one that some people still support, however, it's definitely one of the less popular ships in the fandom. Cabin in the Woods is a 2011 horror comedy that is kind of a parody of the horror genre. It's actually a really good movie, so go watch it if you ever get the chance. In a specific scene in the movie, several special infected are shown caged in the cubes that the movie's monsters are stored in. This might seem like it's just an Easter egg and the creators of the movie are fans, but actually a DLC for Left 4 Dead was planned, where the survivors would find themselves in the Cabin in the Woods world. Apparently, the campaign would have included both the cabin and the hidden facility underneath it. As to why the DLC was never realized, it was due to the company producing the film, MGM's, financial issues at the time, causing Valve to back out of the deal. However, Valve let the special infected stay as an Easter egg in the film. Back when Turtle Rock was independently working on Left 4 Dead, before Valve acquired them, the working title for the game was Terror Strike, and was pretty similar to the first Left 4 Dead title. It was still a cooperative first-person shooter with Bill, Lewis, Francis, and Zoe as the main playable characters. However, they looked almost unrecognizable. Except Bill, he still looks pretty similar besides his clothing. The game was also more horror-based as well, and not as lighthearted as the series would become. The leaker was another cut infected from Left 4 Dead 2, there seems to be a lot of them. And it was unique to say the least. Essentially, it was a living mine that was able to dig itself into the ground and explode on survivors that activated it. While no concept art of it exists, there is code for it in the second game. You can actually use the code and spawn in a leaker, but not without mods and cheats. It doesn't have a unique model and it just looks like the Boomer, but if it was never cancelled, it most likely would have looked different. There's a video that's been floating around for a very long time that shows what seems to be the witch from Left 4 Dead in real life. While this is just an example of some pretty neat amateur special effects, it's actually fooled some people into thinking that the video shows a real-life monster. I've seen the video pop up several times in various cryptid sighting compilations or ghost caught on tape type videos. This is a fan theory that Keith, the star of Ellis's many stories, isn't actually a real person, and it's just Ellis trying to entertain the others in order to make them feel a bit more at ease given their current situation. But it's never been confirmed or denied. With the amount of references that Left 4 Dead has to other zombie media, it's no wonder that theories of Left 4 Dead being a part of a bigger zombie multiverse are made. Some evidence for this includes a room in the Passing campaign. The room is filled with notes left behind by characters from other zombie games, and zombie media in general. Along with this, the Left 4 Dead survivors have gone on to cameo in plenty of other games, such as Resident Evil 6, where you can play as Coach, Nick, Ellis, and Rochelle, and all 8 survivors from both games are also playable in the Zombie Army trilogy, even having a comic showing how they got transported there. The comic shows that interdimensional travel is possible in the world of Left 4 Dead, leading some credence to this theory. Zombieland is a 2009 zomcom, and honestly, one of the best zombie movies in history. Fans of both pieces of media have compared the two franchises ever since Zombieland was released, and actually even before it too. On some old forums discussing Left 4 Dead, people thought that the movie was potentially inspired by Left 4 Dead, or was an adaptation of the game. But neither are true. Probably the most prevailing reason as to why people think that Zombieland is related to Left 4 Dead is because on the Left 4 Dead 2 IMDb page, it stated that Zombieland is supposed to be an adaptation of the series. This is most likely not true. Basically, anybody can get away with putting anything on the IMDb trivia pages. It's not monitored by the website's admins. Zombieland was originally thought up all the way back in 2005. A fan-made Zombieland campaign for Left 4 Dead was being developed, but it never went anywhere. You might have seen the fan-made poster for the campaign before, as it's floated around the internet for a while now. Before Left 4 Dead 2 was called, well, Left 4 Dead 2, Valve considered calling it Back for More, but decided against it. The unused title seems to suggest that the survivors from the first game would be returning to kill more zombies. Which, while we didn't get in the original game, that was later added in the Passing DLC, where the original survivors helped the sequel survivors on their path to New Orleans. Except Bill. You can't help much when you're dead. Now that I think about it, Back for More's name sounds super similar to Back for Blood, the game I talked about earlier. Maybe old members of the original team were inspired by the scrapped concept and reworked it for their new game.